Okay, let's play a fun game. I'll give you exactly 5 seconds to guess what these two designs have in common. Go. If you said layout, then you're right. They are both using a UI pattern that is called the Bento Grid or the Bento UI. And in this video, we are going to talk about how this trend started, what are the alleged benefits of using this new UI pattern in your designs, and in what circumstances you should use it. Now, the whole concept of bento is not something new. I mean, not even close. The first bento box was invented in Japan somewhere between the 1100s and 1300s and is thought to have been invented by farmers and merchants who needed a way to transport their food while they were working in the fields. But in the design world, the ones who actually started popularizing this trend was Apple, which started using this trend in their Apple product tech sheets, and also Microsoft with their Metro UI. Now, in the last couple of months, I've seen this trend starting to get quite some traction in the design world. It kind of reminded me of the glass morphism when it came out back in the days. It was nice to look at, but the problem was that it was not adding any value from a user experience point of view. So initially I thought that this trend will be actually similar. You know, just one of those seasonal trends that kind of like come and go and they look promising, but they fade away really quickly. But the more time I spend looking into it, the more I realize that this trend is actually here to stay. And there's actually a good reason for that besides the aesthetics. And that is that it's incredibly efficient at showcasing a lot of valuable information in a compact space, making it actually a very good pattern to use when designing dashboards or mobile applications. I mean, Apple has been using it in their interfaces for quite a while now, so I actually presume that there is a very good reason why they stuck with it. But the question is, what happens when you take these patterns and apply them to websites? Well, allegedly this pattern promises to be able to reduce the bounce rate on landing pages, hence capturing the user's attention as soon as the page loads. And this in return will incentivize them to visit at least one more page while they're visiting your website. And this kind of like makes sense in a way. The more options you put in front of a user, the more likely it is for him or her to click on something. And by the way, just to clarify what is considered the bounce, this is the official definition that Google Supports provides. In analytics, a bounce is calculated specifically as a session that triggers only a single request to the analytics server. Such as when a user opens a single page on your site and then exits without triggering any other request to the analytics server during that session. So in more simple words, they need to visit at least one more page after they land on your website to not be considered a bounce. Now, the second alleged benefit that this pattern promises is that it will increase the time that a user spends on a specific page. And this makes sense as well, because the more information you have in a compact space, the more time you actually need to process that information. So obviously increasing the time you spend on a specific page or on a specific section on that website. The thing is that these unfortunately are just assumptions for now. I don't have any concrete evidence that this actually works. I tried to scrape the internet to see if I can find any valuable data that can back this up, but unfortunately I couldn't find anything specific. And I mean, not even ChatGPT could help me with this one. So for now, we need to rely on our gut feeling and the fact that this kind of like makes sense from a logical point of view. But if you have any information and you would like to share it with the community, please leave it in the comments. That will be amazing. Thank you. Now, another obvious benefit is that this pattern is extremely easy to adapt on different screen sizes. Although, keep in mind that as you go down in size, the pattern might transform into a 1x1 block or a 2x2, depending on how much information you need to display inside those boxes. If it's just an icon, then you can easily keep your bento boxes on pretty much any screen, same as Apple did in their control center on mobile. But like any other thing in life, there is a dark side to this pattern as well. And that is that it's affecting the content hierarchy. You see, when you use this pattern, it's actually very hard to establish a clear content hierarchy. Now, you might be arguing that you can actually establish this hierarchy by adding the important pieces of information in the large boxes and leave the secondary or supporting pieces of information in the smaller boxes. But I'm not very sure about that, although the data obsessed geek in me will actually love to do a user testing session to find out. But till then, that's why, in my opinion, you should use this pattern very intentional when building your user interfaces. So how do we create these bento boxes? Well, the idea is pretty simple. You start by dividing your designs into smaller grids. The key here is to break everything in such a way that you end up with different size boxes that you can then shuffle around and create a structured pattern. Now, if you want to get some inspiration, you can actually check this website called bentogrids.com. They have like a ton of examples that can help you figure out how to come up with some interesting bento box layouts. And the final question is, so where should you use these patterns? So personally, I recommend using these patterns on dashboards, mobile apps, or anywhere where you need to pack loads of information in a small space. And if you use these patterns on websites, use them wisely. Don't overdo it. Use them at the top of your page to replace your hero image, or in sections where you see the benefits of displaying supporting information to your product or service. Me personally, I love this trend. My instinct tells me that this might be one of those trends that will stick with us for a while, especially with the fact that I see more and more companies adopting this, and also because I see it as incredibly useful in the AR environment, where the visual real estate will become more and more precious. And because you waited all the way to the end, I have a surprise for you. I actually created some full responsive bento grids in Figma that you can download for free on UX Lab Academy. Links are in the description. Thanks for sticking around, have a smashing day. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button if you're not part of the club yet, and I will see you in the next video.